Welcome back. Welcome back to Basic Banter for
Whoop,
Witches.
whoop, 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 whoop.
Another week.
Ooh,
Another week. We just
We're-
passed our Halloween episode, which was a complete gong show. So we're sorry, but
You
also
sh
you're welcome.
you came back. It's always happy to see you and hear you
And
again.
we're so
I know.
hopeful that you had an amazing Halloween and everything was amazing
Yeah,
and you survived that full moon.
exactly. Yeah, all the big stuff is like hopefully out of your system, or, all the planetary things. But I'm a layman when it comes to this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, I've been reminded that there's a full moon coming up. I know what's coming next. Da 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 da. Well, we have somebody with us today in our season of interviews, you could say.
Yes.
Um,
And
you
our
know,
very, very special guest.
I'm really excited. Welcome to the podcast, Gigi.
Gigi.
thank you so
Gigi.
much. So much. Thank you. It's amazing to be here with you guys. You guys are just so beautiful. I love listening to you talk. I do.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that makes us
Surprisingly,
feel so good.
I don't have much of a cold this week. Typically, I'm like,
Oh,
la, 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 and I'm like blowing
Jessica
my nose.
literally sounds like she's allergic to Ireland every single
Yeah,
episode. I'm like,
it's fine.
oh,
the reason,
Like,
come on home.
I
But
mean,
she's
my
fine.
eye is leaking a bit, but it's fine.
Like, Gigi, I don't know. Like, we need to have like the Chronicles of Jessica being sick in Ireland because
Yeah.
she's going through a journey there. Ireland is really making her
Mhm.
pay for her way there.
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
I've heard that
But okay.
it's like it's where I'm meant to be, like my soul's home, but it's also like it's like a detox of like worldly things that I had to adjust. Anyways, Miss Gigi,
I don't,
so this is a very special kind of beginning for us because you like you surprised us in our inbox one day saying that you think that this might be a good chance to sit down and chat, and of course we jumped on it because we're like, sweet, we love chatting with new friends. And
yes.
yeah, so like,
Love meeting new people, and we were just
yeah,
so grateful that you're just like, hey, I want to be a part of your club, and we're like, you're in.
exactly, we're like, soul family, you're here, let's do it. Yeah, so no, so you know a few of the people that we know, I mean, from Nocturnus, it sounds like. So I guess before we jump into like the witch of it all, where we are now, let's can you break down who you are, where you're from, a little bit about yourself?
I was born and raised here in Saskatchewan, more northern Saskatchewan, born to a French-speaking family in a very small community that had a great deal of religious prevalence. That was the underpinnings of the entire community. And as every community is, the church, the rink, and the store is where people meet. And as a child, it was always challenging for me to kind of be in those places because I was outside. Some of my very first memories are me being outside with the animals. So at a very early age, I knew that there was connections for me with other things that not every child spoke about or whatever. And my parents were interesting and unique people. My mother was an Aquarian, my dad was a Capricorn. So, my mom had interesting ideas, and my dad had a very interesting path, the way he moved about his life. And he was a farmer, so good for Capricorn. Um, I went to school there, graduated, had always dreamed about university. I did a year and then not. I got a summer job, actually. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Working in corrections.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
And I never left. I started in corrections and I retired in January of 2022
Right?
after 32.75 years working in provincial and federal corrections.
oh my
God, stories
goodness.
you must have must be just like
Also,
So,
so
to walk
crazy.
out of university at like say 19, 20 years old, being like, it's not for me, so I'm just gonna like pick up a job here for summer.
well,
And
so yeah, and
what?
corrections of all things. Like, I'd never seen the outside of an institution, never mind the inside of an institution. There was no conflict with the law where I lived. Like,
Mhm.
it was pretty vanilla, to be honest. And, as I look back over time, I realized the true privilege that I had with where I live and the life that I had, which was pretty balanced.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know, family things and all the things, but, still
Hmm.
quite a leap. And it fascinated me to work with people who were not like necessarily in the same path that I was. When I went to school, I met some people, some of them are still friends, and one said, you should apply for a job here for the summer with the intention of going back, because I had registered in social work.
Oh,
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah, and I never went back, and you know, started my career, got married, had children, got divorced, got remarried, and continued my path through corrections up until my retirement point. So
Wow.
I have had an interesting career. I have seen all kinds of things on the metaphysical side, as well as the mental, emotional, and spiritual side. And
Right.
I have to say that that deep inner instinct that I had as a child in being in nature and being able to understand what was happening around me with the signals, you know, the animals, we had like a farm with farm animals, all kinds of animals. Um, I was able to read energy very quickly and very early.
Hmm.
And that played a pivotal role in my career.
Wow. Interesting. You're right, because that's like that term read the room. It's like you're on it. You already kind of figured out what's, where the dynamic lies. That's really neat. I have to say,
Oh,
like, for like any 19-year-old today could not walk in and get a corrections job.
for
You know what I
sure.
mean? Be like,
Yeah.
no, you need to be a social worker and then
Yeah.
some. You need to
We need
pay
you to work both.
50,000. Yeah. I
Holy
mean,
cow, that's
that's
wild.
crazy.
Being in, so the correction, you said federal and provincial?
I started provincial working with women
Okay.
and moved my way into working with the provincial men, and then made a life change moving from Prince Albert to Saskatoon. And at the time, there was the way the seniority units and everything were set up, I couldn't transfer to Saskatoon.
Mm.
Okay.
I had to apply and go through the process, even though I
Mhm.
was a staff member. And I applied to the federal system at the same time.
Okay.
And the first one that came up was the one that I went with because children, rent, and food.
Yep.
Yep.
You got to make the change. You got to get the job. Yeah, that
That's
makes
right.
perfect
Yep.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Bills have to get
Mm.
paid.
Totally.
They
Seriously.
do.
Exactly. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
do.
Wow.
So,
Holy.
that's so crazy. So now your children, are they all like in Saskatoon as well? Are they around the province or around Canada?
Well, so they're all in the prairies. My daughter is in Calgary,
Nice.
and she's also a federal public servant in a different department.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, my youngest son, he's working with his father to take over the family farm at some point. At least that's the hope. My other son is here in the city and has a job in the city. So
Right.
I have two stepchildren who are also in the Saskatoon area as well, who both
Okay,
work.
Oh,
good.
nice.
That's
Oh,
wonderful.
I love a good blended family. Then you have
Exactly. Hmm.
lots of people to hug.
Literally.
Well, and so I'm going to say the blended family journey is like many.
Yeah.
It's not always smooth and easy, and
Oh, yeah.
conflict and growth and expansion and all the things. Like it's not the Brady Bunch. I'm going to say,
No
That's
kidding.
fair.
which it's not the reality of most blended families. I'm going to
I was
say,
gonna say I've never met a Brady family. Do you know what I mean? Like, not
yeah, me
truly,
either.
right? They don't exist. It's a dream. Yeah,
Yeah, it's TV, it's programming.
literally, exactly. It's again, it is just like a fantasy at this point.
Yep,
Reality is it's not like that. So,
but we do
it's
have a great family.
fantastic. I figured you did. I
Yeah,
mean, that's like
yeah,
even every family has their stuff. Even our family, right? Like me and Brady get along most days, but
everybody,
we grew up
everybody.
in our teens like we would be fighting constantly as as sisters do. But
Yeah.
yeah. So now, obviously your work, whether you knew it or not, knew it or not, started in like energy reading, and just that feeling kind of sensation. So now, I guess at what point in your life did you not make that like full conscious like decision to work with it? Or like, I guess, as you started out in corrections, was it something that you always brought in as your like in your suitcase of things that you did? Does that make sense? I don't know.
So I grew up in a family that was not metaphysical.
Uh-huh.
And so it was like it had to fit within the boundary of what was. And I was always the weird one to the side. So we'll start with that. And that's okay. Um, when I worked in corrections, it was an adjustment because the energy in institutions is not at all like what's in public. It's a
Hmm.
reflection of, but it's got far more intensity. It took my divorce to really throw me into a vulnerable, humbling spiral, to understand that there was aspects of myself in my life that I needed to explore. And I turned to Reiki. I was getting Reiki treatments, and that helped. Like, for the first time, I was engaging with somebody who really helped me to understand that everything is energy. And that was in 2001.
Okay.
So, it's been a journey since, in the exploration and the contraction and expansion. It's like the universe inhales and exhales.
Yeah.
And it was just that process that brought me to where I stand today.
That's crazy. Sorry, I just have to adjust my microphone because it's
So
falling
because
over.
with your first experience getting Reiki in 2001, from there, are you now a Reiki practitioner?
I am a Reiki practitioner. I'm not a Reiki master.
Okay.
However,
Neither am
yeah, I love working with the energy with my hands. I work with tuning forks, sound bowls, crystals, essential
Oh,
oil plants. Like, I'm just like I want to see how I can create an experience with whatever is required for the person that's in front of me in this moment.
very
Nice.
good. Yeah.
And once I started getting the Reiki, that was when I understood how I was actually using my energy with people through work.
hmm
I
It
can
was
only imagine the level of drained you would feel after working in a corrections facility if you didn't have your protection on.
yeah. And, fortunately, my chart is very much about warrior energy.
Oh,
And so, I'm more than just that. But
Yeah.
that has been a theme that has run through my life. Like, my ascendant is Libra, literally justice, fairness, harmony, equality, balance. Like that's how I worked through life, but didn't realize how much my ascendant really influenced that. And once I became conscious of that, it really just shifted and amplified. And it's like working with, I don't know, a new power tool. Once you get to understand what that thing can do, you can start to begin to hone the mastery of working with that. And I'm
oh,
going to say that's a lifelong process too. Um,
wow.
I think if I've mastered it, I'm probably somewhere not here.
That's
Yeah.
pretty wild though. Holy cow.
Yeah. I was
You're
just like
definitely
thinking, oh, sorry, Brett, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. Go ahead.
Again, my microphone is just being a little pain in the butt. I was just thinking like, oh, like the types of stuff that you work with, we it's funny because with the Nocturna siblings, we had discussed different types of witches. That was like the theme around our chat with them. And now as you're naming off all the stuff that you use, I'm like, okay, so you're like a bit of a green witch and you're a bit of a crystal witch and you're a little bit of a folk witch. But I was like, no, 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 you are an eclectic witch, which is like um eclectic witches tend to cherry pick like bits of things because it's what feels right. It's what feels
Yeah.
like the most appropriate thing right now. So it's not that you're, tied to one and not the other. It's just that different things are going to benefit you at different times. So it's like as you progress through or meet different people, you implement things as they come up. So cool. I love that for you. That's fantastic.
It's
I've
experience too, like
yes.
it's
Oh
just
yeah.
what works and how does it work. And it's that embodiment of each
Yeah.
of those disciplines over time.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think you seem very like well versed in everything as well. Like you've got, well, no, but seriously, you do like it shows in the confidence. So whether you feel like you're well versed, I think I can tell that how can I explain this? Like you feel and you act on those feelings. Do you know what I mean? And that's where you're confident in that. Makes
So
sense?
the word that, yeah, it totally makes sense. And thank you for that. That's such a compliment. I so appreciate that truly. Because, it's like a lot goes on in here connected to here, but it's like when I'm saying it, does it actually make sense to anyone? Because I'm that person who does lots of things. What it really is, the word that I feel is coming forward is correspondences.
Correspondences. Okay. It's like different lessons. Like when I think of correspondence, I think of like a little package that used to get mailed of your correspondence
So
back when.
but correspondences are like a jasper stone.
Okay.
will correlate to the root chakra,
Yeah. Okay.
will correlate to plants that have Saturnian kind of frequency around them.
Okay.
They create boundaries. They create the foundation. They create what it is that we operate from. And if we don't have a clear foundation,
Yeah.
then how do we know how we're operating in the world? Like the tarot corresponds to astrology. I'm going to
Hmm.
say that there isn't anything that I have come across yet that does not correspond to astrology in some way.
Hmm.
And it was a happy synchronicity for me that a series of events occurred that led me down this path to literally discover the correspondences between many things.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, that's so neat. Yeah. Because like, yeah, you're right. It's like in this
Fun.
world, in this metaphysical place that we are, it's like you're right. Everything is tied together. So of course, naturally it all blends, right? Once we see the properties of everything. Well, that's so true. Now,
Well,
you kind of chatted a little bit about other things that you've done now, right? So, moving from like, your healing and, your Reiki practice and, that evolution to like, accommodate people. Is there anything else that you have taken on recently or of like, feel like they practice a lot of any other interest in that sense?
I'm interested in everything, to be quite honest. Like it's like I'm constantly feeling that what else is there? And I work to establish a mastery in understanding the foundations of disciplines.
Hmm.
But at present, I do quite a few astrology readings, quite a few tarot readings. And my readings are unique in that when I'm looking at a chart, I see the tarot in it. And when I'm
Mm,
reading the tarot along with the chart, the two talk to each other.
that's so
So
lovely.
it's really interesting how if I'm reading a chart and I'm, working with tarot cards, I will see people in that person's life show up, literally.
wow.
That's
That is
I'd be so
so
curious to like actually I should just book a reading. That's what needs to happen.
yeah, well,
Well,
that's the
and
thing.
Like
so
that
I
would
want
just be
to know
better.
more than what you do. Like you do astrology charts, you said.
I do astrology readings.
Right.
I
Okay.
I so I work with a
Sorry.
few different strands of astrology. So there's evolutionary astrology which works with like the karmic nodes, the south and the north node, which ties to potentially past lives or patterns in this life that we are here to learn and patterns we are here to break. I work with Hellenistic astrology, which is the oldest form of astrology that has the 7 planets and the correlations to the frequencies that they emit and how they talk to each other. There's also sacred geometry in the chart, in that the
Which I
planets will.
noticed above you. I was like, that's a sacred geometry shape up there.
Yes, yes, it is, exactly.
Sorry, go
I
on.
don't know if people can see it. You can kind of see it there.
Oh,
And it is something that I created because that shape brings in the body, the mind, the spirit, the foundation of the intention to bring it up to its highest potential for synchronicity, for surrender, for exploration that is both supportive but also very real.
Yeah. I
Um,
like love that. I love sacred geometry and I feel like there's so much there. So I just decided that like definitely next time, because you're gonna come back.
yeah.
Like, we're gonna finish
Starting.
this one. But I'm like, oh, already I'm scheduling you back for sacred geometry because I'd love to
Yeah,
dig
Sounds
into
yeah.
good.
that one.
Because
Because
that
I
is
Will
have
one of
do.
our topics we want to talk about, but
yeah.
Jessica and I are like, I don't know, we'll just figure
It
it out.
helps
But
when you
yeah,
have somebody like I do my research in that, but it's nice to have somebody with like the literal grasp of it
knowledge.
and be like,
Yeah.
tell us. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Ta.
No, so as we're talking about sacred geometry, I am literally working with it on my massage table here because it's
Yeah.
where I do Reiki. And I've created a bunch of grids that are going to be available. This time is like pretty gnarly and chewy for a lot of people. And we're in the midst of eclipse season. We're in between the two. This full moon in Taurus is a partial lunar eclipse. It's the last of the series that started in November 2021. And people are in need of support that is both vibrational and leans into the chart that they have to support all of them. It's holistic. I'm at a bit of a loss for words of how to express it, but there's many different shapes and correspondences to each shape.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, like I said, it is like a full topic, which I was well aware of. I'm like, it is like I said, we'll definitely come back and make sure that we like dig in.
I would love to.
Yeah. Now, on the gift side of things, so again, you're an energy reader naturally, do you think, or I guess, have your kids expressed any interest or inkling or any resonance with what you do?
So for better or for worse, I'm going to say that my children also read energy in their daily navigations because they were subject to it. It's like they come home and it's like, what happened? Nothing. What happened? Because I know something happened. And it's like it's difficult at times because there's no escape. However, in the conversations that I have with them at different times, it's beautiful. And they are using different parts of it themselves in different ways.
Yeah.
And to varying extents. My daughter is interested in crystals and in tapping into her intuition and exploring what that means. And I'm going to say that every single human has this capacity to do so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not that I am special or different. It is I am choosing to embrace that part of things. And I love it when people can make the correlations between synchronicities and go, wait, you can't make that up. It's like, no, you can't. You can't.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I love about tarot so much, and like Oracle. Like, I love it because I'm like, when I'm really deep into a reading and like, the person's resonating with, I'm like, I literally couldn't. Like, I don't know anything about you, but it's all here for you. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like
exactly.
it's just like I could not have picked, like, of all the cards in this deck, or like I use like 7 or 8 decks in my full reads. I'm like, literally, like
That's so cool. And I love hearing about how other people use their decks as well. The Rider-Waite is my cornerstone.
Okay, fair. Yeah, yeah.
And it has all of the correspondences to all of the things in it, which is why I love it so much.
Yeah, it's funny because I've never actually owned a Rider-Waite, which is, for those like listening and are wondering what this is, it's probably like the most recognizable tarot deck you would see out there. Like, it's going to be probably one of the first foremost ones that you would see, right? Very traditional. I use a Radley Valentine deck. It was really important. It was gifted to me, and it was like, it's just the one that I've communicated so clearly with that, like, I know, it's funny because even when I'm in a reading, I'm like, oh, I feel like this situation calls for this card. And it's like, oh, there it is. It's like, it's very easy to communicate with, I find. But yeah, we should swap readings if you're up for it. I'd love to.
I would totally do that. Game on.
Let's do it. I'm serious. Like, oh, I'd love to see how you do it. Because again, I love, like, I'm actually like, there's a girl in town. So I'm in Killarney, right? Long story short, she's doing this like bookings for readings next week, and it's like tarot or healing, and she charges a little bit, but she probably charges like 50% more than I charge. Whatever, that's fine. She also has like 20 years experience, fair, whatever. But I'm like, do I want to spend like €60 on a reading for, and I'm like, I don't want to like tell her that it's like for research, because it's not. It's just, organically finding somebody to read you without like feeling like you're sneaky. I don't know. Anyways.
No, but the thing about what you're describing is we are all connected.
Yeah.
And, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, or when the genuine, embodied, aligned request to understand something greater is made.
Yeah.
The answer comes through the medium or the means of what appears in front of you. And that's part of synchronicity, is understanding that these things do show up. And so, is it sneaky? I don't think it's sneaky if you're genuinely intending to get a reading, to experience it, because we have to understand how others do it to see, because we meet things where we are as we are,
Yeah.
not as the things are.
Yeah, exactly. And that's so hard to grasp sometimes. Like, well, yeah, we've got TikTok for basic banter. And I used to like, if you're familiar with TikTok, you'd be like on different algorithms. Anyways, ours was on the my quite metaphysical tract, anyways. Lots of tarot readings, lots of oracle readings. And it was like this message, and it was like the same message. And I'm like, oh, of course it resonates. But then I'm like, no, 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 it's resonating because I like this one that was about that. And I'm getting, I was like, oh, so it's so hard to get a clear reading for myself, right? Because I really can't interpret readings for myself because my ego is like way too strong for that kind of thing. So then I usually get Brittany to do it or trying to
And
find
welcome to
somebody.
being human, truly.
Yeah,
Welcome to being human,
yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm like, I think it would be so useful to have that, like, and we always say like unbiased third party. But even Brittany,
Yeah.
I'm like, you should pull my cards. I'm like, she's like, but then I have to tell her things.
Because
Well,
I
it's
like
that,
the thing, the cards won't lie. Where I'm like, "Hey, Jess, this is what's going
What's
on."
going
And
on?
she's like,
I
"It
know,
has
it's
nothing to do
fine.
with me."
I'll tell you
yeah,
later.
yeah. No, and that's so true. When
Literally.
you're connected, it's so true.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's so
Jessica
funny.
and I are definitely like connected, as in like we've
Yeah.
definitely had past lives together. So like
Oh, for sure.
we know more about each other, what's going on, than we want to even tell each other. So
Exactly.
we're like almost the worst to read each
And I'm
other.
like, say no more. I already know what's going on. And it's funny that you brought that up, right? Because like again on TikTok, there's these things where you can put in your birth date and it'll bring up like the moon at your like on your birthday. And ours was the same moon. It was
Of
the
course it
same
was.
little
Not even,
sliver. I was
yeah,
like, oh
not
my
surprised.
God, it's the same.
Same
So
with
with astrology, you can
Yeah.
see the family and
Yeah.
the corresponding links to the planetary energies.
Yeah. So
Like with children and parents, like there are themes that run through.
yeah, I betcha. Now, I mean, this is like a TikTok filter, so I really don't know how accurate it is per se, but I did like our brothers. We've got a younger brother, and he was like the fuller version, and we were like both the slivers. And I was like, oh my God, we're like, because we were definitely like I don't know if we're considered twin flames or like soulmates or I don't know. But like Jimmy, like I always say we're copy paste. That's literally
Yeah.
it. I'm like copy paste. And so I was like, oh my God, but then Matthew makes up the other half of us that we're like don't embody. I don't know. It's so cute. I'm like,
Good.
That's so cool. That's so
oh,
cool. And
I love
what a
that.
great observation to hold, to
mhm.
understand how the overlay of each of you works
Yeah,
together.
Yeah.
exactly. Like I think we like obviously we quote a lot of movies and shows on here. I'm like, the power of
Yeah.
three, Brittany, the power of
The
three.
power will set us
Yes,
free.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, oh, that's so funny. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. So like I'm glad that you I guess understand what I'm saying, like when I mean like getting another reading. But now, do you outside of Reiki, obviously, as a practitioner and like a healer of energy in that, is there anything else that you outsource? Like anything else that you do for yourself in terms of this world? Like, do you do body talk? Do you do like,
Oh,
yeah, is there anything else that you do or feel like it aligns with you?
I work with Jinshin Jitsu.
Oh, okay. Which
So
is,
it's a form of like acupressure, so to speak. It works on 26 different points on the body. And it's connections of those points to move the energy. And so when I talk about body, mind, spirit, it
mhm.
works very much on those principles because you know the power of three, as you just said.
Yeah,
You can see the power of three in palm reading, like there's three parts to the finger,
yeah.
there's three parts to the ear, there's three parts to the head or to the body.
Hmm.
And so the correspondences between Jinshin Jitsu, tarot, astrology, crystals, plants is crazy. But not many people explore that track to the extent that I do in this part of the world.
Hmm.
I know of a few practitioners here. What else do I do? When I offer readings to folks, and especially if it's in person,
Hmm.
because it's difficult to do this when somebody's in a different part of the world, and I'm not in their energy. When somebody's with me, once I'm done either the reading or the like tarot, astrology, energy reading, crystals, I create a special bath for them to go home to imbibe in post treatment, post work, post exchange.
Mhm.
to help synthesize and integrate. So making space to push along what is no longer required, relevant, needed, and making space for the new integration of what is past, present, and coming in for future. 3 again.
Yeah. Wow. That's so neat. How did you come across like that kind of lesson to bring forward?
The bath salt stuff, the baths.
Yeah. Yeah. Like where, like at what
So
point where you're like, this is what's needed next? Was it like, again, was it a feeling? Was it a download? Was it, yeah, how
it
did that?
was it was it was a download. It was my own experience with what I did for myself and realized how much it helped. It
Mhm,
was also part of working with Jinshin Jitsu and seeing the correspondences to different things that brought in the plant medicine.
mhm.
And it just congealed. Like I have 5 or 6 different kinds of salt here
Yeah.
because not all salts are the same. I have a few different kinds of clays because
Yeah.
they each do something different. So some of it is through my own alchemical process of learning and
Yeah.
transformation and my own school of hard knocks, which I've got plenty of scars and bruises like most humans.
Yeah.
Part of it is learning, part of it is engaging with other practitioners, but mostly it's what I receive when I'm working with someone in person.
Wow. That's really cool. I love, I always say this, I'm so jealous of your gifts, but it is, it's like, it's so fascinating to me that you are, again, it's like that confidence just radiates out of you. And like, again, whether you feel it or not, it's that knowledge that you pass out. I'm like, it's so admirable that you found this craft or it found you or whichever way you want to look about it. And that you were able to make it work for your daily life, right? And make a
I'm going to
career out of
say
it.
that it found me
Hmm.
because I was open and available to the
Hmm.
synchronicity to arrive.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, do you have any advice for anybody who's kind of, no, I wouldn't say maybe getting started in this, but maybe getting started, just I would say like the baby witches out there who aren't really sure where to start or how to start, do you have any advice for anybody like that?
So, frequent,
Hmm.
credible places that sell these things. And I'm going to be not stepping into any kind of go here, don't go there, but
Hmm.
use your intuition to go to where you are drawn to start the conversations because every place has something for someone.
Hmm. Yeah.
And you use your discernment to determine if it feels aligned and if it's working in synergy with your energy.
Hmm.
I also say begin experimenting for yourself. Meditation is such a huge part of things. And I've been guilty over the years of starting, stopping, starting, stopping. And at the advent of COVID, I began taking Tibetan meditation. So I'm a trained trauma sensitive meditation facilitator as well.
Of course.
And but like
I love
that was the synchronicity that brought me through COVID. It was
Yeah.
such a hard time for everybody.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
don't know what I would be if I hadn't have learned about Tibetan Buddhist meditation
Mm.
and the masters that exist that are so incredible with their knowledge and their gifts. And you can find them all on podcasts and YouTube. Find what resonates, but mostly, please begin being open to yourself.
Hmm.
Begin experimenting with things that feel good for you.
Hmm.
And when I worked in corrections, I did a lot of training and facilitating. And I always said to every group that I started with, there is no such thing as a stupid question.
Hmm.
The only stupid question you have is the one that you did not ask.
Yeah.
You must ask. The other part of that is if you pose the question and it's met with ridicule, with somebody who's trying to push it back or create a sense of smallness for having the courage and the bravery to ask the question regardless of how it came out.
Hmm.
Find somebody else to ask the question of, please,
Hmm. Yeah.
because there is an answer. The third thing, invest in yourself. This is truly a journey of personal proportion, and it begins here. It's like
Mhm.
happiness, love, confidence. It's an inside job.
Mhm.
I
Did
love
I
it.
answer the question? I got going
Yeah.
there and just sort of didn't
No,
stop.
you really did. No, I love it. It's so like it's it's to the point. Whereas I think
It's
people are
very
like they
thorough.
bounce. Yeah, people bounce around that directness, and they're like, well, you should try this. It's like, no, 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 this is what you need to do. And like as you were kind of talking, I'm like, how many times do we, go through our days or our weeks and we're like, oh, like I didn't really recognize what I really loved about it. What like about this week really brought me joy. And like if we sat, not even sat, but I mean, went about your week, but when you have those moments of joy or like excitement or intrigue and like something that pops out to you, okay, maybe make a note of that so that we reflect on it later. Because clearly that's something that our body or our life needs more of, right? So if it is like a new craft, if it is like, crystal study, or if it's, a new form of meditation or anything that's going to bring you joy, I think that's important to dive into a
And
bit.
I think you touched on something that's probably equally important. So we all have three brains. I don't know if you guys know this, right?
Three.
We do. We
Yeah.
have the brain that exists here that processes everything. We have the left brain and the right brain.
Mhm,
The right brain is very linear. The left brain is the creative, the intuitive. Then we have the heart brain,
mhm,
which we know exactly how we feel when things are happening.
mhm,
And then we have the gut brain, our gut
mhm,
instinct. What is it
mhm,
telling us? Is what a person that's embracing or encountering something new, are they feeling it somewhere in the body?
mhm,
And is it creating an anticipation and excitement? A little bit of, oh my God, like I don't know if I want to do this. A little bit of that fear, but it's kind of an
mhm,
excited fear.
mhm. Yeah.
We have been dumbed down to not listen to our three brain centers.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I tell people, how does it feel in your body? Where do you feel it?
Yeah. Exactly. That's like again, like when I do like tarot or any sort of whatever I do. I'm like, I feel like this is what I'm feeling. I'm trying to tell you exactly like looking at this card, the tarot card. I'm like, I feel like this is, the card might mean this, but like this feels like blank. You know what I mean? And it's putting the feeling into words and interpreting it in a new way, right? And giving that feeling a voice. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very
You know,
interesting.
reading, I'm going to talk about Nocturnus. The amount of proficiency and expertise that they hold
Hmm.
is stuff that is truly embodied. It's not like book learning, it's not university learning, although both are educated in very interesting and beautiful ways.
Hmm.
And I'm not diminishing that, but can you be teachable,
Hmm.
and can you embrace this expertise with openness to receive and be teachable?
Yeah.
I'm always the why person, and I've always been that person, and that has
Yeah.
led me down this beautiful road that I've been
Yeah.
so gratefully given to experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice that like you were able to feel nurtured in that space as well. Again, not to be biased because we do have, you know,
There's other
there's
great stores in the
there's
city.
many, but we always say like there's like a store for everyone, and there's a store for something specific, right? Like so things at Nocturnus aren't going to be available anywhere else, and vice versa, right? Like, but it is
Yeah,
to get familiar with those shops that are local or the owners, more often than not they're in this biz, for a
they
reason,
are.
and their stories are remarkable. And we've had the privilege of speaking with a few of them on the podcast. Obviously, in private, we've been able to get to know some of them as well. But yeah, I mean, again, ask those questions if you're curious.
Yeah.
Start there because we
Yep.
don't fit in anywhere else sometimes, right?
Well, and that's just it. And like I say, Nocturnus because they have a lot of great reading material and a lot of places to start with decks
Hmm.
to begin
Yeah.
that process of experimentation. And that's when we begin to learn where our true alignment or our passion lies.
Yes.
It's called cultivation.
Yeah.
Cultivation.
Cultivation and correspondence, right?
Yes, exactly. The cultivation creates the correspondences, you know?
Exactly. Right
They
on.
do.
Well, I guess, should we get on to our tarot or our card read? Does that sound okay to everybody?
Sure. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr.
Okay.
Harrison is definitely trying to steal the show as always.
No, it's okay. I know he was so cute when he first got up. He's just like, and then when you had him on the couch, I could just see like one of his eyes. He's just
I know.
So what I noticed was that when we were talking about the family charts and how we can see the correspondences, he actually spoke there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, like he definitely wants to be a part of the conversation. And it's interesting when he decides to be vocal. I'm just like, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Because like when it comes to past lives, I definitely like him and I for sure have been together before.
Yeah, exactly. There's
Very
an essence
cool.
there. I know. That's like my daughter Maria is like, it's funny because Colin is like, he's just happy go lucky. He's a little boy. He just goes about. But then Maria, when I had her, she's like, she was the same. Basically, that was her on my lap during recordings. It was like, oh, I have Maria, or Maria's close by, or she's crying and I gotta take her, right?
Yeah, that was the first year of the podcast was Maria, and now it's Harrison.
And you know, I just want to say that as moms, I find it's absolutely beautiful that you are incorporating your children through this process of conversation. Like they're going to grow up to be people with very wide ability to see what's in front of them rather
Yeah.
than be like, well, you're too young for this or you're too young for that. It's like, you know what? They will hear what they need, they will receive what they need, and they will also share lessons that they have despite the age with
Yeah.
you.
Exactly.
Right? Like, our hope is that they'll
Beautiful.
come in after like a crappy day of school and be like, Mom, I need some cleansing spray. It's like, you got it.
Was me. Yeah, or yeah, exactly. Like
Finish the house.
It's not that we were ever like closed off to this as children. Like it wasn't I didn't exist in our home, not because we didn't want it to, not because our parents disallowed it by any means, but it was just like it really didn't it was a later lesson learned for all of us. And like, you know, our dad's kind of like whatever makes you happy, and our mom is like in this as well, right? So she's finding
Oh, great.
her voice within this, and it's like as we woke up she's like, oh, my girls, you know, it's fantastic. So so incorporating and allowing a safe space for this has been our goal.
Well, normalizing what people say is different. It's not.
Yeah.
This is normal.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is just who I am. And thankfully we found partners who are like, again, they may not understand it, but they're okay with it. You know what I mean? They're like, if it makes you happy and it makes you you, then that's, you know, it's part of us. So it's not, yeah.
That's a gift, truly.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Well, it's funny, like speaking of that, like what I know we've mentioned it before, but I'm going to talk about it again real fast. When it comes to like, yeah, having a partner who understands what they do, what you're doing, and they support it. My Ryan, because Jessica has a Ryan and I have a Ryan.
Yeah.
Which shock, right? We're like, okay.
No accidents there.
I know. No. Waiting for our brother to meet the Ryan of his life. So maybe
or Rihanna.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan could be real name, right?
You never know.
Yeah. So,
well, and there are ladies named Ryan as well.
There are. Yes, there are. Yeah.
Yes.
So I've been using a lot of manifestation tools this year, and Ryan will literally be like, okay, what have you done? I'd be like, what do you mean? And he'd be like, I just got another promotion. I was like, oh, that's so weird. Like, oh, you just got like a huge check in the mail. Oh, that's so strange. He's like,
oh, unexpected money? What?
Yeah, literally. Know. And I'm just, or he'll be like, because this is a random example, but like he was getting money back from SGI concerning an old trailer or whatever. And he's like, it's only going to be like a couple $100. And I was like, no, it's not. And I was like, it's going to be quite a bit more. And it's going to be like at least $3,000. And he's like, no, SGI doesn't do that for you. And I was like, okay. And then lo and behold, he gets a check 2 weeks ago and he's like, why don't you open it? And I was like, how much do you think it is? He's like, I literally think maybe $400. And I looked at it, $9,000.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's so
like,
good.
Ryan, you have to listen to me. He's like, I will never doubt you again.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And now you'd be like, so I'll take the difference. You should have said like, whatever it is over 400, that's push present, please.
I know, right?
Shopping's free. Yeah.
One of our biggest things on his manifest list just this year was to get rid of debt. And I was like, well, here you go.
Big
That
help
takes a
there.
chunk of
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So,
That's so
So
good.
well, yes.
Okay.
Manifest. So yes, finding a partner who like truly is like on board is pretty awesome.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
That's so
I'm
good.
so blessed. I have the same.
That's so
Amazing.
good. I'm so
I have the
glad.
same.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
it's like a beautiful quirk that we've embraced. I'm glad that we've got people to embrace that in us as well, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So I'm going to read for my old trustee, the wild unknown spirit animal.
Okay.
I love the way Kim Kranz does this. So I'm thinking about, so this is going to come on November 4th. Ah, okay, let's see, my people. Okay. Okay. Ooh, I got the dragonfly.
Ooh.
Beautiful energy there. Okay, let's see here. I do not have this book memorized. I know I don't need to say that, but I do feel like some people don't take you as like serious when you're reading from a book, but like it seems like well
I feel like I have
endowed
It,
with
my
info.
brain that I
it's
need
there
to
for a reason, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's not like yeah, it's there to learn from. I don't know if I'll ever have it all memorized, but that's okay. So
But you know,
the
there are
oh,
some books too that are just colors.
exactly, yeah. So the dragonfly is the master of light, illusion, and the mind. The dragonfly is an ancient and ethereal creature that awakens in a sense of wonder and awe. The dragonfly is a symbol of the mind, as it always moving, shifting, shimmering, and changing. When the dragonfly card appears, it's worth considering the quality of your mind and perception. Are they restless or still, dreamlike or crystal clear? The situation at hand may be different than it appears at first glance. The dragonfly reminds us to calm the mind so the light of wisdom can shine through. So when we're in balance, we see clearly, joyful, and magical. When we're out of balance, we can't concentrate and have a busy mind. To bring into balance, focus on the breath. Interesting.
So beautiful.
Yeah, that's a good card.
It is a good card.
when you can't control everything, control what you can, which is your breath,
That's
right?
right.
So
Yeah.
right.
So good.
Okay, who's up next? Oh, sorry, Gigi.
So how I do the card pulls is usually through the frequency of the conversation.
Okay, yeah.
I'm cued to begin shuffling and then pulling out what's here. And so there's 5.
Hey, cool. I love it.
And so talking about November 4th,
Yeah.
we are past the eclipses.
Yep.
And we're moving into the space of the eclipse energy waning, and the patterns that have been identified are now malleable, palatable, and presented to be able to begin addressing, embracing whatever it is that's needed. So the Tower was the first one that came out.
Okay. Transformation.
And, transformation, but right now, the Tower represents Pluto.
Okay.
And Pluto is literally squaring the nodes. So it's like, are we going to be using focus or distraction?
Okay.
And so the Tower card, if people can see, there's the crown at the top, literally, that's blown off.
Yeah.
Our egos are being put into abeyance. And we're going into our bodies to really work through some of these patterns that have been present. And now it's time to work with them.
Okay.
It's time to find some balance. So the interesting thing with this is cardinal Capricorn energy. So there's always going to be stuff happening in the background. You can see the ships on the water waving around. But yet he is managing these 2 pentacles on 1 foot, and he has that knowing that what comes in will go out, and it'll just be a continuous flow. Again, are we going to be distracted by what's happening around us, or are we going to use our focus? The next thing that comes out is the 8 of Swords reversed. And so this is time to stop feeling like a victim, to start feeling like circumstances never work out for me. Everything is hard. I'm always feeling like I never have a choice. The illusion of being bound between those swords is now breaking. And the duality of whatever situations are happening are going to be clearer. Again, patterning. focus or distraction.
Yeah.
The next card is the Knight of Cups. So this is carrying yourself, but also for others, that compassion of those who may need help and support, but also being able to hold for ourselves with bravery and with courage what it is that we are stepping with and stepping into.
Mm-hmm.
And the last card is the Six of Pentacles reversed. So sixes are interesting because on the tree of life, it's on the pillar of severity. And what that means is that sometimes reality bites. And are we being kind to ourselves like we would be to others? And this, like in this form, it's like it's sharing with others who have less. But in this form, it's an invitation to really look at, are you giving more than you have capacity for? Or are you allowing others to do that mirror work and the lessons to help you receive as well?
Okay.
I think a lot of people are going to really love this message today.
Yeah. No, I think that's,
Thank you. And, I don't use traditional spreads most of the time. I'm just going to say it's very intuitive how it comes through, connecting it to the astrology and where we are. And what the general tone of this message is chop wood, carry water.
Yeah. Okay. Just keep going.
Day by day. Do the things that matter, and the whole will come into view and be manageable.
Yeah. So you said in the beginning, so it was focus versus
distraction.
Distraction. And it's like focus on what you can control. Just let the universe fill in the gaps where it needs to.
Yep. And so I pulled this before you pulled yours, but the two absolutely mirror and resonate and dovetail into each other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they definitely do. And they always do. We should never be surprised by this.
Yeah, we should never be surprised. Right.
Every single time.
Exactly. Okay, B, what you get?
Okay. So hopefully I'll have a moment without Fussy Babe, but we'll find out.
Do your
best. I'm pulling my Radley Valentine deck, the Archangel Power Tarot cards. This one was going back to what Jessica had said. Her deck that really speaks to her always like comes on through. Like it was, so it was gifted to her. It was a Radley Valentine deck, and it always speaks the truth. And that's very much this one for me. So I pulled the card Justice. Fight for justice and equality. Rulings made in your favor. Don't give up. So I'm going to quickly do a read through.
Very applicable because you worked in the judicial or in the justice system. And on that last card that you had as well, the Six of Pentacles, there was the justice sign on there as well. Yeah.
The scales are there too. Yep.
Yeah. And you're a Libra, right? Is what you said? Or no?
No, I'm a Libra rising.
Libra rising. Okay. I was like, whoa. We've talked about this a lot today. So
I'm a Pisces. I'm a Pisces.
Oh.
Oof. Okay. The angels sent you this card as assurance that the right decision will be made. Court cases, settlements, and other issues decided by third parties will be ruled in your favor. Where situations had previously become unfair, Archangel Regil can help restore balance between the people involved. You will soon be able to put this challenge behind you. This card also brings a message of empowerment that the situation you find yourself in was partially created by previous choices you made, and therefore new choices can bring about new results. It's very important to make fair and carefully measured decisions at this time. Kindness and justice must always be extended towards everyone involved. So additional messages are seek equality, set aside emotion, do the logical thing, and review legal papers carefully.
That's very cool.
Yeah, very applicable. Yeah, again, we should never be surprised that it always ties in so well to this, but definitely get that vibe. The last portion of that card, Brittany, sorry, what was the last couple sentences? Can you repeat those? Sorry. If you can't, that's fine too.
No, it's fine. I got it. Okay, so the last couple sentences. It's important to make fair and carefully measured decisions at this time. Kindness and justice must always be extended towards everyone involved. Yeah. Did you want more?
No, that's perfect. Because yeah, like the term fairness and fair is what really stood out to me there. And then again, like that giving and receiving, right? And like everybody involved, including yourself, right? And it's again like that giving, receiving, and being open to receiving as well,
Yes,
right?
very
So
much.
yeah, that ego gets in the way. Receive
See,
it.
Well,
we're gonna start him early. He's just like, yes, I am the card reader.
I am the card reader. Open. Let me
that's
read
amazing.
for you. Exactly.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
Exactly. He's such
Such
a
a
little
weirdo.
sweetheart. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry we're making fun of you.
Oh,
Okay,
that's okay.
so Gigi, I want you to tell everybody, what do you have coming up next?
So with the holiday season coming, and of course the new year, and I'm endeavoring to be present and not too far forward, but a little preparation goes a long way. So I will be offering the year ahead for the calendar year, either astrology readings or tarot readings or combinations specific to your chart and what every month, what kind of flavor there may be. I can also add in crystal prescriptions. What crystal will be beneficial for you to carry, work with, and walk through? And this is not to say that's the only thing that will work, but it's an added sort of, have you thought about working with this crystal? And especially when these kinds of moments or emotions or events occur. Again, correspondences. The other thing is that I'm always taking bookings for readings. And I also have begun offering mentoring to people who are looking to walk this path. And I very much work with the correspondences of astrology. So working with the chakras, working with the different sacred geometry that shows up in the chart.
Yeah.
As a person who worked in public service for many, many years, I was a manager for a lot of people, and that work came naturally. I want to say, I mean, not everybody's going to love me, and that's okay. But I did very much carry that Libra perspective with it. And what I endeavor to teach people is that you have the capacity to do what you dream of, and offering breath work, meditation, whatever needs to be in the pot of soup to help someone move forward to begin empowering their dreams.
Yeah. Beautifully said. And like what an opportunity as well. Like that's I'm so glad that you've jumped into that frame. Because I was gonna say if you're not mentoring, like you should start because again, like you've got all this naturally born, brought about
Thank you.
knowledge. It's
Thank
lovely.
you.
And I'm so glad that you see that and they're able to share it with people. So people listening, you hear me, you do the thing. You
Well,
start.
thank you.
No, of course. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, where I guess before we head out here was where can they find you? You're on Instagram, do you have a website?
So I have Instagram, so 369 underscore Amor Fati. And I'm just going to explain that a little bit. 369 are three of the most powerful numbers in the universe.
Yeah.
If you add 1, 2, and 3, you get 6.
Yeah.
3 ones make 3. 3 twos make 6. 3 threes make 9.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm nerding out a little bit. And
Perfect.
Amor Fati is lover of destiny and fate. So what my whole underpinning is, we all have free will.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we exercise with alignment and authenticity, our free will, those moments of fate will lead us closer to the realization of our destiny because it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
We must put in the effort to get. And as always, the other thing that I do is I create these sprays, and I'm looking at them over there. And I just created another one that's called Phoenix Rising. And that one is intended to assist people when they knowingly recognize a pattern that's karmic, to work through and break it so that
Yeah.
their free will is able to exercise with potency.
Yes.
Ooh,
I love it. With
It's not
potency.
light work. It's not light work. Anyway.
I have a couple
Not light
people
work in that it's not a dark
listening
work.
to
It's
me.
just
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. It's heavier, you know, it's
Yeah.
more intense. It's not the rosy glasses. And
Yeah.
I always say to people, you're not paying me to blow smoke up your butt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is a hard
I
work.
will be
This is
kind,
it.
I will be truthful. Yeah, but I will not tell you the things that you want to hear because that is not helping you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Brittany,
Wow.
what were you saying?
I was gonna say, like, there's a couple people that I'm sure are listening right now, being like, "Oh, that sounds like me," and I'm like, "This is me saying, hey,
Yeah. Brittany
get
says
the
so.
spray, start
Exactly.
the journey."
Yeah.
It's
So,
time.
you know, something I've been meaning to do is do short videos on each of my sprays and explaining
Yeah.
what they do so people know how to reach them. But anyways, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here. And for today, that's what I have to share about what's coming up. I'm so happy
Yay.
to see Harrison because I haven't actually watched one of your videos.
Oh,
He's such a little peach. He's so
He
cute. His
is.
little body.
He
Right, Harrison?
is.
he needs to be involved. There's Auntie.
Hi. Hi, my boy. Oh,
Hello.
sweetie pie.
So
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, so busy.
He's very
He knows.
busy.
He literally, he could be sleeping, he'd be dead asleep, and then he could hear the moment that Jessica's talking, and he's like, "I must be awake."
Exactly. They're recording without me.
Oh.
It's you.
Oh.
Well, I do really hope, like I said, like I'm already planning our next visit to dive into more. Like I said, there's so much
I would
that
love
I
to.
like. If you're willing to share, we'll just like let's
You
share
know
it
what?
all.
I'll keep coming back as long as you want me to come back. I'm happy to share. It does no good for me to hold it all here.
Yeah. No,
There.
you're
Well, no, we are so grateful.
yeah.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
great.
And thank you for
I love.
accepting my, you know, I'm going to say for all the listeners, this was a huge leap for me to put myself out there and go, can I be on your podcast? Like, I
Yeah.
think I could offer something. And that is not what I have been. I have
Wow.
been pushing myself to be out there more.
Yeah.
So here I am, folks.
You're
You did
here.
it.
Hey,
I did
it
it, and
is
thank
such a
you.
big thing to do. And I'm, yeah, honestly, like be proud of yourself for doing that. And this is a call to others. If you have that inkling, like you might have
Yes.
something to share, reach
Yes.
out, guys. Like
Yes.
everybody's gifts in this are so beautiful and different. Like, let's dive in. We'd love to chat with you. So,
That would be great.
yeah. So thank you, my dear. And I
Thank
guess
you.
to our listeners, thank you again for coming back. And we'll make sure to see you again next week. But you can find us in the meantime on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Basic Banter for Witches, or email us at basicbanterforwitches@gmail.com. Lovely. All right, my
Amazing. Well,
friends.
Gigi, don't go anywhere. We're gonna see right after we close here, but everybody else, we will see you next
Thank you
time.
so much. And thank you to everybody for listening to these beautiful humans. Honestly, like it's worth the minutes, honestly.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.